shortly before 4 o'clock when we got on the television with you, we now have some confirmation coming in from the airport that there was a funnel cloud issued, and that very much coincides with what we saw on the radar. Let me check in. A brand new warning has been issued, and this is starting to overlap to some degree. So what I'm going to do here to clear up the radar for you and make it a little easier to understand, we're going to take off the severe thunderstorm warning and really focus in on the tornado warnings. And the tornado warning has been issued because this storm tracked a little farther to the north. So Wake Forest, you're right on the line of the new tornado warning, but signs are pointing to this rotation staying to the north. This new tornado warning is in effect until 4:30 p.m. So some communities that are included in this tornado warning: Youngsville, Franklinton, and we do have a camera in Franklinton. I'll work to pull that up for you in just a minute, or Amy Wilmoth will. And Creedmoor also included in this tornado warning. It is portions of southeastern Granville County, the northern part of Wake County, so this warning does not include Raleigh. It's far north of Raleigh, Durham County, as well as Franklin County. Let's zoom in and let's get a better view of where the rotation is right now. So this is showing you rotation. This is our rotation detector that we have access here at WRAL to. It's a great tool. It very clearly shows you where we have rotation showing up. And because we are in the green category, this is showing that it is weak rotation, but we have seen it kind of pulse back and forth between weak and moderate rotation since this thunderstorm initially developed and started to really strengthen at the airport, where it was confirmed to have produced a funnel cloud earlier. We do not yet have any official damage reports coming in from the airport, but we'll keep an eye on it. I actually just got a text message in from a friend of mine. He said 7 to 9 minutes ago, just north of 540, he said it sounded like a train, and they believe they either had a small tornado or a microburst. Trees were sideways outside, and it was around 540 and 54. So we'll keep an eye on that. We'll certainly send a crew if we do have any damage reports coming out of that area. But it's certainly been impacting people. A loud storm. The rotation that we are tracking right now around the Sandy Plain community, just southeast of Sandy Plain, it is headed for Grissom. We've been telling folks in Grissom for a while to get into their safe places. We hope that you heed this warning and do so. This storm is really closing in on you at this point. You need to get inside. You need to be in the lowest level of your home. Meteorologist Amy Wilmoth is keeping an eye on our debris detector. What are you seeing, Amy?
Well, I want to stress that this is from earlier. So you were talking about how we had that report from the airport of a funnel cloud, and now they're saying that they issued that warning because they had a debris signature. So this is from 3:52 this afternoon, and you can see that right by the airport. It's right there. There was, in fact, a debris signature, and that's when the radar can pick up on objects being lofted into the air. So we know that briefly this touched down very close to the airport. Now, it might not be on the ground anymore, but I did want to point out, Kat, that there was briefly a debris signature right around the airport when they issued that warning.
Absolutely, and that's really important for folks to know moving forward as we continue to track these storms. So we have the debris that the dual Doppler 5000 radar picked up, and that can pick up because we're the only station in the market with a dual pole radar. We can get that information to you very quickly, and this is one instance of where we've had a potential tornado touchdown, or it looks like it, at least a funnel cloud in the area. And there was also Anson County earlier. So we really hope that you are taking these warnings seriously, because they do have a history of producing damage, producing funnel clouds. We also had a warning earlier in Warden County. That warning produced a funnel cloud as well as it crossed into southern Virginia. So the community right now that is being impacted by the rotation in this thunderstorm is Grissom. And I want to go street level on this rotation, call out the communities that need to be inside in the lowest levels of their home seeking shelter. This tornado warning in effect for another 20 minutes. This includes State Road 1711, Bruce Garner Road, Wayside Farms Road, Ironwood Drive, Morgan Hill Drive, Brassfield Road, Ben Mill Court, and State Highway 56. At this point, folks, I do want to zoom out on the radar for you a minute. I think we can clear some communities from the threat, and it's important to do so and let you know when it is safe to come out of your safe spot, your basement, wherever it is that you seek shelter. At this point, the greatest concern is moving up into southern Granville County as well as Franklin County. So southern Granville County, those communities that I just called out, and the southwestern tip of Franklin County, that is where we have the most rotation showing up on the radar. I do want to keep an eye on Wake County. As I mentioned before, Raleigh not included in any of these tornado warnings. This is all north of the city of Raleigh. But let's take a look. The airport, you're certainly in the clear at this point. The worst part of that storm has already cleared at RDU Airport. We're keeping an eye on Rollsville. You are still included, as well as Wake Forest, in this tornado warning. I'm just not seeing any very strong rotation. The key concern is really to your north. Rollsville, some very weak rotation in place, but our key concern at this point is the Grissom community between Wilton and Grissom. We'll continue to see this rotation move off to the northeast, and with this new scan that we have in on the radar, the rotation has actually strengthened. Prior, we had green showing up, and that indicated weak rotation. But with the new scan of the radar, we now have some stronger rotation showing up. This is right over State Road 1710. So I want to call out some communities again. It's very critical that you get to your safe spot as we see some strengthening rotation. Meteorologist Amy Wilmoth is keeping an eye on the debris detector. We're not seeing any debris showing up right now. No signs of anything on the ground, but we have seen signs of this rotation strengthening, and if that trend continues, we could see something touch down just south of Wilton between Grissom and Wilton. Wayside Farm Road, Old Franklinton Road, Brassfield Road, State Road 1711. You need to be in your safe spot. It is critical that you seek shelter. Now is the time to do so. Do not wait, and if you need to bring the WRAL weather app with you, you can live stream our coverage from your safe spot, from your closet, from your basement, from your bathroom, anywhere that you can go, the innermost room. That is a way you can access our coverage, and we'll let you know when it's safe to come out of your safe spot. Creedmoor, you are right on the line of the tornado warning, but that it looks like right now the rotation will stay to your southeast and is of less of a concern. Our concern right now, as I mentioned before, just north of the Grissom community. I do want to remind folks what you are supposed to do in a tornado warning. We are nearing the evening commute. It is very critical that you seek shelter in a sturdy building. If at all possible, get to the lowest level of your home, the most interior room. That is going to keep you safe, and you want to put as many walls between you and the outdoors as possible. That is going to help keep you safe. Avoid windows if at all possible, and make sure you are on the lowest level of your home. I do want to get back to meteorologist Amy Wilmoth in just a minute. Before we do so, I want to show you the big picture of what we are tracking here. Person County, Chatham County, as well as Orange County, Durham County, over into Moore County. Really, the worst of this activity has ended for you. Our focus now is the northeastern portion of Wake County, Franklin County, up into Granville County. And if these storms continue to move off to the northeast, more of Franklin County, Warren County, Vance County could be hit by this storm. So we will continue to track these storms very closely as they move to the northeast. But this activity at this point is north of Raleigh, and it appears the worst is over there. Amy?
I wanted to pull up the Warrenton camera. You mentioned that earlier, how that storm is headed kind of in the Warrenton direction toward Warren County. Not seeing a whole lot with the camera here. In fact, it looks really still, unlike many of our other cameras where the trees are really blowing around. It's been windy today. So Warrenton, it's still quiet there right now, but there is a storm headed your way that has a history of producing some rotation. So you need to keep watching us, have a way to get alerts. This is an interesting time. You know, a lot of kids are maybe in the bus on the way home from school. A lot of folks on the roads for the evening commute. And I know that we have people in the newsroom making calls right now to make sure that there aren't any accidents or things like that. We have the WRAL storm tracker out on the roads monitoring things as well. Things are looking a little bit better here in the WRAL gardens. Earlier, it was pouring down like crazy. It's lightened up a little bit. The worst of the storm is just north of us right now. A tornado watch remains in effect for most of the viewing area until 8 o'clock this evening. We still got a ways to go to get through this event before we can make the all clear. I also want to show the 24-hour rainfall, because I wouldn't be surprised if we do have some accidents during the evening commute, because we've had some really, really heavy rain in the last 24 hours. In these areas that you see in pink and red, it's about 2 to 3 inches of rain. So we've had some really heavy downpours, and the rain is still coming down. So perhaps some isolated flood issues could be a concern during the evening commute. This is something we'll continue to monitor. watcher as well. Kat Campbell is here to kind of fill us in on what's the difference between a watch and a warning.
And as you mentioned, Amy, most of us are under a tornado watch right now. In fact, everyone but Person County is under a tornado watch, and we do have a warning in effect as well. So the difference is the watch means conditions are favorable, but if you are under the warning, you need to be taking action. You need to be moving to your safe spot, and you need to be seeking shelter. And the areas of most concern that I'm watching right now is it is in southern Granville County. It is near Brassfield Road and Old Franklinton Road up towards State Highway 56. So this is just to the northwest of Franklinton where we have this concerning rotation. And on its current trajectory, it would stay just to the northwest of Franklinton. So I do want to put a storm track on this thunderstorm and this tornado warning. And I want to remind you the tornado warning is in effect for another 15 minutes or 14 minutes to be exact. And when we put a storm track on this thunderstorm, Fairport at 4:40 p.m. This storm could be headed your way in Lynbrook Estates closer to 4:45 p.m. And the reason why those times are so far from now is this thunderstorm has actually slowed down to some degree. With the latest update from the National Weather Service, this storm is moving to the northeast at 15 miles per hour, which is much slower than many of the other thunderstorms that we've been watching today. But that's the area of concern. The other tornado warning that did include Rollsville has been allowed to expire. For now, the concern for Rollsville is some strong winds. We could see winds gusting up to about 40 miles per hour. But our main concern is in southern Granville County, staying just north of Youngsville at this point and just north of Franklinton. And I do want to zoom out a little bit, show you what we are seeing in the triangle at this point. We're starting to see some of the rain taper off for Durham as well as Mooresville after we had the strong storm and the funnel cloud reported at the airport there earlier. When we loop this, you can see we do have some additional rain moving in from the southwest. That is moving into Apex, Fuquay-Varina, and our southern counties. We're watching some of this activity moving into Fuquay-Varina. So we'll let you know if that strengthens at all, since the southern portion of Wake County has not had as strong of thunderstorms so far today.
Out of the tornado warning.
Okay, wonderful.
It continues for Franklin and Granville until 4:30.
Okay, so we do still have 13 minutes left on this tornado warning. I'm going to pause this. I want to zoom in and take a better view of where we have this rotation showing up. And we do have, here's the update. It just came in on the box. Let me check in and see how fast this thunderstorm is moving with the new update. The new update has northeast at 45 miles per hour. Okay, thank you very much. So this storm is moving faster off to the northeast, right over the Wilton community right now. When we pull up our velocities, we can see there's still some rotation in the storm, but it's certainly weakened since this storm initially developed by the airport. And if we track this storm and the rotation really over the past 30 minutes, I think you'll be able to clearly see that and the difference. So I'm going to start this back by the airport. Notice how strong of a signature that we had showing up on our rotation detector as we started to see this storm rotate near the airport. It was very strong rotation. That's when the funnel cloud touchdown was by the airport, and we had strong rotation continuing all the way north of 540 on the Durham County and Wake County line. But over the past 15 minutes or so, we've seen a few flare-ups showing some red, and that was near the Grissom community that I told you about a short time ago. But on the recent scans, we've overall seen some weakening in that area. And I know you're seeing the weak rotation closer to the Youngsville community as well. Really, when I zoom in and get a view inside of that thunderstorm, that just looks like straight line winds to me for Youngsville. The good news for Franklinton is this storm is likely to stay off to your west, so I think there's less of a threat in Franklinton right now and less of a threat in Youngsville as well, as it's more of a straight line wind threat that we are dealing with. But overall, the rotation is weakening. We're going to keep a close eye on this storm as it continues to push to the northeast over the next 10 minutes until that warning expires. I do want to mention, though, this thunderstorm has a history of rotation flaring up and strengthening and then weakening again. But if it were to hold together and the strength was able to continue, we would eventually see this storm head in the direction of Henderson and Norlina. So we're going to keep an eye on that. We will let you know if it continues. But for now, we've seen significant weakening. That is great news. We're going to keep a close eye on this storm. Dan and Lena.
Yeah, Kat, thank you. As Kat and Amy continue to keep an eye on the radar for us and watch these washes and warnings. We do have our reporters keeping an eye on everything else around the area.
Absolutely. Out in the field and in the WRAL Live Center as well. Let's get to Mark Boyle. Are you seeing any of the impacts of these storms, Mark?
Well, Lena, Kat was talking about that debris field possibly by RDU, so we've been making some phone calls to the police department, airport officials, and emailing, waiting for some confirmation on that and exactly what may be seen. Live pictures right now out at RDU. About 15 seconds ago, we did see a plane taking off of RDU and leaving here, so that is some good news. Things are moving out at RDU, and the system, certainly, as Kat's been talking about, quickly moved out of the area. Let's go ahead and take a look at the traffic conditions here as we are in our 4 o'clock afternoon newscast. Now this is 64 in Smithfield. Definitely wet conditions out there. And now in this shot right here, live pictures of I-40 at Trailwood Drive. The driving has slowed down just a little bit because the conditions are not clear at all out there. The rain coming down, the roads are slick, so people doing what they should and giving themselves plenty of time this afternoon. Wade Avenue in Edward, this is the westbound lanes. The commute continues out there. No major issues. So let's now talk about the traffic maps, where things stand across the viewing area right now. Coming up on 422, I-40, it is slow out there by the airport. This is that area Kat was talking about where that funnel cloud was spotted, so a lot of heavy rain and wind went through there, so there are some of those residual delays. One crash reported out here. And off towards Zebulon, we're seeing an icon, a yellow crash indicator out there, so we'll monitor that as well. In addition to the roads and the air, we do want to mention a couple of other things, including the outages. The outage map looking at Duke Energy here this afternoon. Here's where things stand. About 500 customers north of Raleigh in the dark right now and without power. So crews are going to have to wait until these storms calm down enough where it's safe to get out there to bring the power back online. I wouldn't be surprised if we see these numbers tick up here in the next couple of hours or so. And I do want to mention what the airport conditions are like across the East Coast as we see this storm. JFK, you see it right there, a ground stop. DCA, LaGuardia also on delays this afternoon. Kat, we'll send things back to you with another look at where the storm is right now.
And we just got in an important update, Mark. I want to bring you up to speed. A new damage report came in, and this is what I told you about on the air just a few minutes ago from my friend who was in the area. Several downed trees along and near Highway 540 and Slater Road, likely due to tornado damage. So again, several trees down, that's near 540 and Slater Road, likely due to tornado damage. That coincides with what we saw on the dual Doppler 5000 radar in terms of a debris ball showing up in that area. We're able to see different shapes and sizes of objects being thrown into the atmosphere like debris, and the radar is able to detect that. So we saw the debris ball confirm reports of a funnel cloud at RDU Airport, and now we have reports of damage. We will certainly send a crew in that region and keep you up to speed on it. The tornado warning is still in effect until 4:30 p.m. for southern Granville County, as well as the northwestern portion of, or the southwestern portion of Franklin County. And I do want to update you, though, what's left of that initial rotation is this. So it has weakened significantly. At this point, it's moved out of the warning area. That's great news. Youngsville still seeing some strong winds, but the concern for Lewisburg right now is going to be damaging straight line winds. Overall, our tornado threat for now, based off what we are seeing on the radar, has decreased significantly since what we saw earlier. And I do want to bring you back in time and show you what we saw as this storm passed near RDU Airport, and I think that's important, especially given that we just had potential confirmation of a tornado touching down. The National Weather Service will surely be out there tomorrow surveying the damage, and they will confirm whether or not it was a tornado, though we believe it was, and exactly what ranking they'll give the tornado, an EF0, EF1, etc. So as we move forward in time, it was about 3:50 p.m. that we saw the rotation showing up by the airport. So here was our shear at that time. Notice this shows the rotation was very, very strong as the storm passed by RDU Airport. And it was right around that time period as well that we had the debris ball showing up in the area. You can see some of the blue showing up in the region, and that is what we had showing that there was some debris being lofted into the air. And you can actually track that from just north of Mooresville, right near I-540. So it was right along the highway that we likely saw this possible possible tornado, the tornado track. And that will, we'll keep an eye on the traffic maps, let you know if there's any residual traffic from the trees being down in that region. The tornado warning expires at 4:50. It expires now at, let's check in. Moving forward in time, still 4:30, so they have yet to cancel the warning. But at this point, Amy, you've been looking over the data. I have as well. It's really weakened significantly, and the threat continues to go down.
Right, the tornadic threat certainly going down, and that's definitely some good news. We don't like to see those debris signatures on the radar, so really glad we're not seeing that. I've been watching it for a while now just to make sure, and I haven't seen anything of concern, which is good news. Check out downtown Raleigh right now, though. This is our City of Raleigh Museum, and it is coming down. No hail or anything, but some very, very heavy rain right over downtown Raleigh, and we can hear it yet again here at the TV studios. These are the current wind gusts, so not necessarily associated with a thunderstorm. Nearly 50-mile-per-hour wind gusts at RDU. Maybe we just lost the sensor there. I'm not really sure. We just lost that, but it was 49 miles per hour, that last wind gust that we had out of RDU. 41-mile-per-hour wind gusts in Fayetteville right now. 37-mile-per-hour wind gusts in Goldsboro. So even outside of some of these thunderstorms, we have some very gusty winds. This is a live look at Clayton, still breezy there. They just had a downpour. And this is another live look at Wake Forest. They had a downpour. You can see all the standing water on the roadways. We've had some very, very heavy rain with this system as it moves through. We've seen 2 to more than 3 inches in a few spots in the last 24 hours. This is a look at the tornado watch, and it does include most of the viewing area until 8 o'clock this evening. Right now, we're not really seeing any rotation in any of the current storms, which is really, really good news. But we're still getting some of that heavy rain, and it's right during the evening commute. So if you know somebody that's about to head out and get out on the roads, they better take it slow, because we've had some very, very heavy rain. And these areas that you see, the pinks and the reds, 1 to even more than 3 inches of rainfall. So some very heavy rain with this. We're going to keep an eye on the radar and let you know if we have any more rotation that shows up. Right now, we'll send it back to you guys on the anchor desk.
All right, Amy, thanks so much. Quick question, though. So you were talking about that lull where it seemed that the storm had kind of passed through in terms of the tornadic threat here in our area. Now we're just seeing a potential thunderstorm warning that we need to pay attention to.
Right, and with these kind of systems, you just have to watch them very carefully, because the tornado can spin up really, really fast. So that's why we keep an eye on the velocities. We keep an eye on the shear detector that we have, the rotation detector, because they can spin up really fast. We're not calling the all clear yet. We still have severe storms and severe thunderstorm warnings, and those are serious as well. They can have very strong, damaging straight line winds, very, very strong winds with those as well. But we do still need to keep an eye on the rotation potential with these storms as they're moving through. I mean, right during the evening commute.
Not to mention, we have so many beautiful trees in this area, and those trees getting so saturated with all this water right now can really come down easily. Amy, thanks so much.
A busy time, too, over the past few hours as these storms have moved through. People have a lot to do, whether it be pick the kids up at school, now head home from work, and we want to keep an eye on the roads for you. We have Joe Fisher out in the WRAL storm tracker, currently on 540 near Six Forks. What's it look like out there?
Dan, a lot of the rain that we've been seeing for the past hour and a half or so has really moved out of here. We're only seeing a light trickle as we flip the camera around and show you a live look here on 540. We are just approaching Six Forks Road here on our way to Falls of Neuse. We're hitting some heavier traffic, and actually we're heading in this direction right now because we're hearing a report of an accident up near the 540 and Falls of Neuse Road exit. So that's where we're approaching right now to check out what that scene looks like. It is possible that some of these delays, we're hitting bumper to bumper traffic right now, could be for at this hour right now. But we are seeing heavy traffic on 540. As you can see from multiple cameras here on the WRAL storm tracker, there is some light rain falling, but nothing like what we were seeing in the 3 o'clock hour and just as we were coming on at 4 o'clock. I can tell you that there is some ponding on the roads. We're seeing some of that. Cars are having to slow down at times. But for the most part, traffic is getting around just fine aside from this bumper to bumper traffic on 540. So as soon as we get to 540 and Falls of Neuse, we'll check back in with you.
All right, Joe, appreciate it. One thing you do notice is how many more cars are on the road. It's that time of day.
Right.
And there are pockets of this storm where it looks a lot different than what we're seeing from Joe in those pictures.
Yeah, even behind us here, this is in downtown Raleigh. You can see how hard the rain is falling. I saw people sprinting into buildings to try to get out of the rain. Amy also mentioned the fact that a lot of school buses could potentially be on the road. You're looking live here from our WRAL live camera network in Wake Forest. It doesn't look like it's raining incredibly hard right now, but you can see the wind. There is a breeze there, and fortunately, it doesn't look like that many people out on the roads.
And we're continuing to check around. Again, as these storms have moved through, there were reports of a funnel cloud at RDU. Of course, that's a very busy place. Even prior to that funnel cloud being spotted, we were already seeing cancellations and delays at the airport. So we have to figure out what is exactly going on there. A lot of people looking to catch flights to head down to New Orleans because they're going down to see the big matchup on Saturday between Duke and UNC. So between that and now some reports near 540 and RTP of some damage and trees down, there's a lot to check in on.
Yeah, there could be some ground truth. Let's get to Mark Boyle in the WRAL Live Center. Mark, what are you seeing? What are you learning?
Well, Lena, this is a live picture that just came up. We have several crews out working to get the information. Lori in the desk, just holler at me if you guys get the location of this, because I don't have the answer, but I want to show you. This is what it looks like outside right now across some of the areas and our roadways here. This driver obviously lost control, and then you have this standstill of backups here in one area. Stand by for the exact location, but let's look at the traffic maps and do a bit of an overlay here. So we have some congestion and backup. This is the location where witnesses say they spotted that funnel cloud. That's where RDU is, right in that area. Somebody who witnessed it is going to call us back here in just a moment. We have our phones on, so we're going to try and get witness interviews as well. 540 to the north, there are some slowdowns. The inbound lanes, the eastbound traffic is very slow there as well. Down closer to the metro, the outbound lanes of 440. There's also a yellow icon showing a crash out towards Cary, and we mentioned this location in Zebulon. The roads are an absolute mess right now because the rain came down at such a pretty quick clip this afternoon. Right now out at I-40 and Trailwood Drive, this shot shows how quickly the cars are moving, but it's still very rainy and wet out there. We'll pull back up this live picture of this crash. Stay up with this for just a moment. I want to run over here. Are we still looking to get that?
US 64 in Lizard Lick.
US 64 in Lizard Lick. Okay, that is the intersection. Talking with one of our executive producers here. When situations like this happen and we have crews just going out as quickly as possible, they put up their live picture and then they show it to us back here, and we try and get it to you as quickly as we can as well. So from that location at Lizard Lick, now both lanes of this intersection completely shut down. This major interstate and back and forth traffic not getting by. Emergency responders oftentimes in these situations, they're coming from both ways, right? They're trying to get out there because somebody in this case lost control and flipped over their vehicle. What we don't know in this crash here is if there are any serious injuries. All right, let's go over here to the traffic maps as well, a different vantage point. I want to show you this right here. This is I-40 and Page Road, and this map gives you a different idea of Drive NC, where things are. So I want to show you some of these different cameras. This is Aviation Parkway in 40. That's a mess as well. Again, keep in mind, that's the location where that debris field was this afternoon as that funnel cloud was spotted as well. So stand by for just a few more minutes as we work to gather our situation in terms of where some of these live pictures are coming in from. But if you are headed out this afternoon, Amy mentioned this, you might want to stay put in your office or wherever you're going just to give yourself a little bit more time for these storms to move out, for where things can calm down just a little bit before heading home later today.
Yeah. All right, Mark, appreciate it. As we take a look over his shoulder at the crash scene there, hopefully everybody is okay, but that is the kind of thing that can happen when the wind is blowing as hard as it is and the rain is pouring as hard as it is.
Absolutely. It's very easy to lose control in conditions like this. Let's get to Kat Campbell in the WRAL Live Severe Weather Center, rather. Kat, you've been all over these warnings and these watches. None in effect at this point?
No warnings in effect at this point. So that is great news that we do not have any warnings. Now, that doesn't mean that these storms are not very impactful as you're trying to get home. It is absolutely pouring rain in Raleigh right now. Some strong wind gusts as well. We can just see sheets of rain there from Jimmy V's. Also, Dix Park, you can't even see the Raleigh skyline really showing up. You can see some of the puddles out at Dix Park as well. Of course, they're having Dreamville Festival there this weekend. Luckily, the weekend forecast looking dry. All warnings have expired. The main concern right now will be strong strong wind gusts up to about 30 to 40 miles per hour. Our strongest winds are moving through Fuquay Arena. I just checked in, though, no signs of any rotating thunderstorms right now, just strong winds and very heavy rain leading to some ponding on the roadways for your evening commute home. So please be especially careful out there, especially as these storms move through during the evening commute. I do want to walk you through the remainder of your evening on Futurecast here. 4:30, Futurecast has been doing a great job showing where these thunderstorms have been. It really has been. I've been impressed with it so far today. The storms that are in Wake County, the heavy rain should be moving off into Warren County as we get closer to 5 o'clock. Still some showers and storms along and east of I-95, but by 6 o'clock, the threat likely to be over for the triangle, and we're going to be watching our eastern counties through 8 o'clock this evening for the chance of an isolated, lingering strong storm. After that, we are done. It would just be a few spotty showers tonight and dry weather just in time for your weekend. We got a lot going on this weekend. We'll have a closer look at what to expect behind this front coming up.
All right, Kat, thank you so much. Again, the warning's not active, as you were saying, but we're still in a watch, and that can change so quickly as we've seen it happen throughout the day today. So please stay with us as we take a look in downtown Raleigh. And you've noticed probably as we've bounced around the area that the severity of how hard the wind is blowing, how hard the rain is falling really is in pockets as this storm moves through. And the rain was really just coming down, teeming just a few moments ago in downtown Raleigh.
Yeah, let's take a look at some other live cameras here. We have such a vast live camera network. Looking at RDU International, looks like the sun might even be trying to peek through there, but clearly it's going to be a long evening. Thick clouds there over RDU around 350, a funnel cloud reported there. We are waiting to get some more confirmation and some more information about what happened there. I was looking at my computer because I wanted to check the latest on outages in North Carolina for customers with Duke Energy right now, 9,800 customers without power. So that number going up very, very quickly this evening as the rain continues to fall, as the wind is picking up in some areas and those outages go up.
And just a reminder to people, you know, if you have family members who maybe lose power, don't have access to their television, they can still stream us on the WRAL app. Keep updated. Hear from Kat and Amy as these watches and warnings keep bouncing into different areas of our community. Again, North Hills with the rain falling. We want to keep a big look on the roads tonight because we know so many people are going to be hitting the roads, heading home from work. We have Joe Fisher still out in the WRAL Storm Tracker with the latest there.
And right now we're driving right along 540, just about 2 miles from Falls of Noose Road. And you're looking at the bumper-to-bumper traffic that we have been sitting in for about 10 or 15 minutes at this point. We are hearing reports of an overturned vehicle up near 540 in Falls of Noose. Not yet confirmed if this is what this traffic is all about, but you can see here on the eastbound lanes that traffic is very slow going as we are very much in the midst of this evening commute. So if you are headed on the eastbound lanes of 540 in the direction of Six Forks Road, Falls of Noose, that entire area right now, very slow going. As soon as we get up to this accident, we're going to bring you live pictures. But for now, we'll send it back to you.
All right, Joe, be careful out there. We appreciate the update. Now, Mark Boyle in the WRAL Live Center on that situation at 540 NRTP.
Right. We were hearing about potentially trees down. Mark, what are you learning?
All right, Lena, there's a couple of things. We've now gotten a few things straightened out. So those trees down that we're hearing, that's near the airport. So it's Slater Road. It's just a few yards away from 40. So I know this is light and hard to see, but this red line right here, that is Slater Road. The Hertz rental car, that pops up in the map. So there's 40. Here's 540, and that red line is the location of Slater Road. That's where we're hearing these trees are down. Looking at the traffic maps right now, we showed you that crash. This icon right here, yellow icon near Wendell, that's the location where right now crews are responding to a serious crash at the intersection 264 and Lizard Lick, where there's a rollover crash being reported. So you have that as well. And then the live pictures across the area show the traffic conditions. And looking at the traffic maps, this is the area near Slater Road. So you have that, that's one, near the airport where the funnel cloud was reported. If you're just joining us right now at 4:39, we saw this reported funnel cloud. There's reports of debris in the area. Jamila, any updates on that? Okay. Okay. And then we have, let's see, is this video coming in yet? Let's see, go through this. We're going to come back to that in just a minute. So we have the crash over towards Wendell, again, 264 in Lizard Lake. Jamila, if we have that picture from that crew, just let me know what that is, and I'll pop that into one of our frames here. And a live look out at RDU. We do have reported cancellations and delays out at the airport this afternoon due to these storms. So, Dan, we'll send things back to you and Lena in the set just to give you an idea of what things look like out there. It is a rough situation out on the roads as these strong storms move through here this afternoon.
All right, Mark, thanks so much. I know we're getting so many emails in, and we're trying to get the images up as quickly as possible, and I know we'll have that up momentarily.
Kat Campbell, we want to send things back to her. Kat, it's been a pretty stressful afternoon. You've been breaking into coverage, keeping people updated since about 1:30 or 2 o'clock today as these tornado warnings have appeared throughout our entire area. As we get to see this storm kind of making its way through, how do things look moving forward today?
Well, it depends on where you live. So first, I want to mention some of the areas that are done with the worst of the storms today. That does include Durham, Chapel Hill, Person County, Chatham County. At this point, it's really Wake County, Cumberland County points east that we are seeing the remainder of these thunderstorms. You could still see some additional rain if you live west of Raleigh this afternoon and evening, but the worst of the thunderstorms likely over for you at this point. And to bring you up to speed, thus far, we have had one confirmed tornado that touched down right around RDU Airport around 5:40, and that tornado tracked right along I-540 earlier this evening. For now, though, no active warnings in effect on the dual Doppler 5000 radar. Still want to zoom into some of the stronger areas of heavier rain coming down and some gusty winds just north of Lewisburg, so we'll keep an eye on this as it crosses into Warren County. And zooming in on Wake County, we are certainly not done with the heavy rain yet. Still pouring rain for the evening commute. If you can give it 30 minutes before you leave, head home from work, I personally would do so myself. I'd strongly recommend it. Right now, the strongest winds with this storm headed for Garner. So very heavy rain, very strong winds moving through downtown Raleigh as well as Garner. This will continue to move off to the northeast toward Rollsville as well as Wendell. And all of this activity due to this cold front. Not only do we have the tornado watch in effect for much of North Carolina, even portions of Georgia and Florida were under one earlier, but there are also severe thunderstorm watches in effect all the way up into Pennsylvania as well. So this is a very powerful system. We cannot officially clear the severe weather threat for most of us until we start to see our dew points dropping and our temperatures dropping as well. And that will mark the arrival of a more stable air mass. And we're just not entirely there yet. A tornado watch in effect until 8 o'clock. Eventually, I would expect some of these western counties to be trimmed out of the watch here pretty soon. Right now, the one area not under the watch is Person County, but Wake County, Cumberland County points east. That is where the greatest threat persists this evening. And we still have a few more hours of these thunderstorms through about 8 o'clock this evening. After that, it would just be rain that we're dealing with. And then we're going to be done with the rain for the weekend. The weekend looks absolutely beautiful. We just got to get past the next couple of hours, and then all is good weather-wise. Upper 60s tomorrow, mid 60s on Saturday, near 70 on Sunday. Now, the rain today has really helped to wash away some of the pollen, created more of like pollen rivers that you see flowing around. Unfortunately, pollen levels likely to spike right back up over the weekend and early next week. I expect them to be sky high. So if you want to get outside, enjoy the nicer weather for the weekend. Just make sure you've got your allergy medicine on hand. We're in the upper 60s with sunshine tomorrow. It will be a breezy day tomorrow. For the final four, we've got great weather. We'll see an increase in cloud cover Saturday evening. Very late Saturday night, a 20% chance of a stray shower. But after that, temperatures climbing back into the low to mid 70s early next week. Our next storm system will likely move in for the middle of the week. And spring, you know, this time of year, it's the #1 severe weather season, not only in the country, but for us here in North Carolina as well. So we'll keep an eye on the middle of next week for any threat for severe weather as well. We're keeping a close eye on the radar this afternoon, and we will let you know as soon as we see anything concerning showing up.
Yeah, we're certainly getting a taste of that today, Kat. Thank you so much as things calm down for the time being, but the threat still remains.
Yeah, and we are seeing some power outages. We're seeing that number go up. I keep checking that, and I'm trying to check and hone in on the particular area. Right now, Raleigh has about 600 customers without power, but statewide, there are about 10,000 customers without power. Right now, the majority of those are concentrated in the Greensboro area, so not yet in our community. However, we still need to be on alert, certainly. All right, let's get to Mark Boyle. A good reminder for our fabulous viewers, you guys are our eyes and ears on the ground, so if you see something, please send us those images and those videos because we can get it on the air, right, Mark?
That's right, Lena. Right now, Hunter Bowling is someone who works over by the airport, and he saw this storm move through pretty quickly. This is by the airport, and we got some video in from a viewer I want to show you. This is off of 540 near the airport. Plenty of tree limbs and debris there on the roadway. This is where Kat was talking about reported funnel cloud. You can see the entire road, all the lanes here with debris and also some trees snapped and fallen over right there on the side. Hunter Bowling again on the phone with me. We appreciate you speaking with us. You were in your office not far from the airport. Can you describe what you heard and what you guys saw this afternoon as that storm moved through?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, we were just sitting in here in the office looking out. It seemed like a pretty normal, spring storm. And all of a sudden, you just saw the rain kind of pick up pretty drastically, started flying sideways. There's some small pine trees behind our office. All of a sudden, they were almost at a 45 to 90 degree angle. The wind picked up, and the noise was, I wouldn't say a violent train sound, but it was a pretty dull roar and enough for everyone to get up and start kind of heading to safety at the center of the building. And by the time everyone started moving, it was gone.
What did you guys see when you went outside in terms of debris?
We're in an office park, so not a ton of debris out here, but I will say the smaller trees here were bending pretty drastically, and even still, they're kind of bent over right now.
So would you, given, we talked about this storm, obviously it's done quite a bit of damage across the deep south. We've been showing some of those tornadoes. Do you guys have any idea it was going to be like this at some point this afternoon?
No, not at all. It just seemed like a normal spring storm, and just kind of out of nowhere, it just popped up and surprised all of us.
Well, we're glad you guys are safe. Thanks again, Hunter, for talking with us this afternoon. And if you get a chance to snap some photos outside or videos, feel free to share, and we'll put them on the air. Appreciate your time today.
That sounds great. Thanks, guys.
All right, sir. Take care. And while we're on the phone, I did get an email. This is another vantage point, another snap tree in an office park not far from 40. The fire department out there right now. It's hard to tell if there's any damage to that building right there. Again, the Slater Road area, Lena and Dan, that's the area where we're hearing that storm moved through. And also there is a crash of significance off here towards Wendell at the intersection of 264 and Lizard Lick, a rollover crash in that area. The roads are very wet and certainly impacting the afternoon commute, where we're seeing a number of crashes now move north in terms of where the storm has been moving and also what we're seeing, Lena.
Right. I mean, so you get a storm like this to move through.
Yep.
We hear about the issues. Now we're seeing them with our own eyes. The debris is pretty telling. We see the crashes on the roads, and now the worry about flooding.
A big concern, and there's a new flood advisory in effect, and it includes parts of Raleigh. Let's get to Kat Campbell in the WRAL Severe Weather Center. Kat?
This is going to be a big concern. This flood advisory has been issued. It expires at 7:45, and it is 4:48 p.m. So a lot of folks are trying to get home from work right now, and the roads are going to be a mess. We have issues on I-540 due to the tornado that touched down near the airport earlier, and now we have issues ponding on the roadways, very heavy rain coming down just in time for the evening commute. So included in this flood advisory, Raleigh over toward East Cary, right around the Crossroads area, down into Garner. So this includes parts of I-440 inside the Beltline. It also includes I-40 moving through Raleigh. Very populated areas during the evening commute, very traveled. And this aerial flood advisory a concern because between ½ an inch and an inch and a half of rain have already fallen, and we could see an additional ½ inch of rain. And while that may not sound like a whole lot of rain, the issue is that this rain has really come down so fast, and there's nowhere for it to go, especially around the city of Raleigh, where we don't have as much area for this rain to run off. So I do want to zoom in, show you the areas that have seen the most rain so far. It is really west of Garner, closer to Highway 401, Old South Road, Mid Pines Road. Those areas have seen some of the heaviest rain. In addition to that, right along I-40 in Raleigh, closer to Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. Those areas have seen the heaviest rain, and I think that's where we're going to have the biggest issues for the evening commute. Back to you guys.
All right, Kat, thank you.
Now, we do want to stay on the roads, so let's go back out to the WRAL storm tracker. Joe Fisher has been monitoring the situation for us there. I can just, by looking out of his window, you can tell he's not moving very quickly. Looks like he's in standstill right now. 540 just past Falls of Noose. What are you seeing there, Joe?
Well, Dan, we are at a standstill, and that's because we've pulled over to the side of the road to give you a good look at what we've been talking about for the better part of the past half hour. I want to show you what we're seeing from the top camera of the WRAL storm tracker, what appears to be a single vehicle accident that is slowing down traffic a bit there on the westbound lanes, or excuse me, the eastbound lanes. I want to show you what things are looking like here on the westbound lanes. As we change this camera, you're seeing, this is westbound, correct?
This is eastbound.
So we're looking eastbound here right in front of us. So eastbound traffic is moving extremely slow. Westbound traffic is where this accident is, which is also slowing down traffic. So this is 540. We are right near Falls of Noose Road. So if you're in this area, just expect some slowdowns. And what we've actually seen in the past 10 minutes or so is more emergency vehicles moving past us to go to presumably another incident down the road. So we're tracking that one as well, and we're tracking several slowdowns in this area right in the middle of the evening commute here. But this, right, what you're looking at now is a single vehicle accident right there on the side of the road tying up some traffic. So again, if you're on 540 right now, if you are waiting for somebody in this area, this is why things are looking very slow. They have been this way for about 45 minutes, and as long as these accidents keep happening, I'm sure that, you know, more slowdowns are on the way. Back to you.
So, quick question for you, Joe. How strong was the wind as you were driving on the interstates?
I'll tell you what, we weren't feeling too much of the wind aside from that 3:30 to 4 o'clock time period where the rain was really coming down. We hadn't quite reached the airport where we're talking about all of that action happening. We could not feel the wind. We're in a very big, heavy-duty pickup truck, though, so we're probably not the best example to ask from, but we did not feel much of that wind aside from that heavy, heavy band of rain that came down between 3:30 and 4. For the past little bit here, it's just been light rain, and then we've been seeing these traffic backups, Lena.
I actually think you're the perfect person to ask, because if you feel the wind, then certainly regular drivers would feel the wind, since that's such a heavy-duty vehicle. Joe Fisher reporting live for us in the WRAL Storm Tracker. Thank you.
Mark Boyle in the WRAL Live Center, continuing to keep us up to date as he's talking to people who witnessed this storm as it moved through, getting some images of other crashes and wrecks that are tying up traffic around our area.
Dan, you know, when we have situations like this, it's like this, all of a sudden, this dump of information comes in, so we try to sift through it as quickly as we can. And let's start over here with this brand new video in. This is in the Wendell area, 264 in Lizard Lick. Kathy, let's play this video out of the control room. This is this rollover crash that we've been talking about, a really serious accident that's causing delays in both directions. 264 in Lizard Lick Road, and emergency responders are still there on scene right now. They're going to have to bring in a wrecker to get that truck out of the way, and then traffic is slowed in both directions, being detoured this evening because of that. So it is a real mess. If your afternoon commute takes you out in that area near Wendell, a heads up about that. Looking at some of our still shots, I want to show you this as well. This is the same area, a different camera, I-87 Shepherd School Road. Look at that traffic, Dan and Lena. It is at an absolute standstill. So that's something we're monitoring as well. Let's switch gears right now. The outages, looking at the Duke Energy outage map. This number right here in our area, when we went on the air at 5 o'clock, or 4 o'clock rather, this was lower. This number is going up. We're also seeing out towards Rocky Mountain now, about 1,000 customers without power. We want to talk about the airport situation, just updating these numbers. So right now at RDU, total delays, 55. This number was in the 40s about an hour ago or so. So we'll monitor that. 10 cancellations. And to put this all in perspective for you, the misery map paints the picture. It's not just a North Carolina problem. This storm stretches up and down the East Coast, from Charlotte and Atlanta to the south and up north. New York getting hit extremely hard, as well as the D.C. area. If you're flying, I think it's a pretty good bet to assume that you're going to have some issues this afternoon. If it's not canceled, it likely will be a delayed flight. And we want to remind you, Slater Road off towards the airport, just south of 40 right here, where you're seeing this red, said, that's the area where we had that reported funnel cloud this afternoon, and we've had some photos come in. This is a photo right here of this area, a tree snapped and some reported damage to that building right there. We've been talking with witnesses of that storm system. They say it moved through pretty quickly this afternoon. There is some debris from the trees in that area all along 540. So just realize this is what you're going to be up against this afternoon until crews can get out there and clean this mess up, and until the storm moves out altogether later tonight.
And this is a storm that's been wreaking havoc across the country for 3 days now, from Texas to Louisiana into Alabama, one point stretching up into Illinois, down into Florida, and now it is our turn, and we're seeing what it's able to do here, causing crashes on the road, damage to trees all over, debris all over the road, flooding. It's been a mess. Power outages.
Absolutely, yeah. And our team of meteorologists has